Hello. We're just gonna give it a couple seconds. I am on early just to give people time to log in, and then we will start promptly at 5 o'clock today. Working on it, working on my punctuality. Praise his high name. Let's see. Trying to do this again, but it's not working. We got a couple minutes. We're gonna start promptly at 5. Hey Tish, me and my girls had a ball today. Just letting you know. One of our parents are on. You need to tune in for Aaliyah. You know, me and Aaliyah have a lot in common. So, you know, I'm so glad you tuned in. But, you know, that's my homie. Me and her, we understand each other. That's hilarious. She is funny to me. That is funny to say. You know, you'll hear more about it, but I, too, was one of those smart mouth children. So I have a little affinity. They're really close and dear to my heart. So, and if they're around, tell them I said, hey, you know, I love my baby. She's something else. Girl, she's hilarious. She's so smart, but we'll talk about that. She's like advanced. It's not working again. Okay, we won't worry about that. I love it. Hey, Miss Pat. Miss Pat is my mom, aka a wonderful assistant. She is amazing. Love her. Couldn't do it what we do without her. She's dope. Miss Pat is Alana's homie, Tish. Like her and Alana. She'd be like, Miss Pat. Hey, Cece. Yes, use it for your master's program. Carmiana is one of my mentees, my oldest mentee. She's awesome. So proud of her. One of my dear babies. But yes, Alana is Miss Pat's homie. She's like, Miss Pat, they need to get up. Girl, today she told them that they were too loud or something. I fell out. Alana is somebody's CEO. The woman guy is going to run some big corporation one day. I tell every day, I be like, she is somebody's boss. And she's fearless. The youngest one out of the whole group and fearless. Girl, she be having me cracking up. Yeah, that's your homie, Miss Pat. All right, it is just about 5 o'clock, so we're going to get started. For those who are watching and those who are going to tune in who may not know, my name is Krissy McNeely. I am the owner and founder of Zoe Life Academy. I have been in the early childhood field for almost 17 years in this June. I have my law degree, I studied sociology, and I also went back and got an early childhood degree. So I have been studying and researching children, family, all of this stuff for years, and has really become one of my passions, and it is a God-given gift. So I just here to share some stuff. So today's tidbit is help. I have a child with a smart mouth. For those who may be watching and knew me from back then, I was that child with a smart mouth. You know, teachers would call my dad. I used to walk into classrooms, literally, this is a true story, and my dad's phone number would be posted on the chalkboard, and I would be like, okay, I see what we're doing here. Teachers were like afraid of me. I was a child filled with logic. I could argue my case. I could really present a struggle for teachers, and for teachers who were insecure, they didn't know what to do with me. They literally would be like, you know, I've had it. I need you to get out my room, and they would just like wipe their hands of me. And then there were teachers that I had were amazing, and they were helpful, and they understood who I was. But today, I want to talk about those kids who have that smart mouth. Everything you say, they got to clap back. Go clean your room. I don't want to clean my room. Do your homework. I don't feel like doing my homework. Or if they're little, all right, I need you to wash your hands. No, I don't want to wash my hands. That kid. That was me. So today I have a couple questions for you to consider. What if a lot of the tug and pull and tug with your child is because you could be, I'm not calling you a controlling parent, but maybe you are too controlling. What do I mean by too controlling? Well, children, let's think about it. Every part and every aspect of their lives are controlled. What they wear sometimes, because you purchase it. Sometimes we give them options, but most of the time we're just like, yeah, you're going to do this. Or, you know, what you're going to eat and stuff like that. They don't have a lot of options. And sometimes I always can encourage parents, give them a little more elbow room to make decisions, okay? So maybe you're too controlling, or maybe this child lacks a voice. I have seen a lot of children, they don't have, spaces for expression. They don't have people who listen. So a lot of their clapback is because that's their opportunity to, voice. And that's their opportunity to feel like they have some type of power and control, because you're sitting here telling them to do something and they're like, I don't feel like doing this, so I'm going to voice my opinion now. Really, it's just misdirected energy when they need a platform to express. And sometimes smart mouth kids have extreme intelligence. Let's think about it. I have had children. This is a true story. I have kids that have so much clapback. To me, it's funny. So granted, I will give this disclaimer. I am different. I think sometimes their comments and stuff, they crack me in my mind. Like, they crack us up all day. I'd be like, girl, you a trip. What you say? Say it again. Okay, but the kids know with Miss Krissy, I have a little more elbow room to be an individual. Sometimes kids who have an extremely smart mouth, they are extremely intelligent. Do you realize sometimes to come up with certain clapbacks and comments, you have to have extreme wit? There takes reasoning and logic that they're able to manipulate words and put it together. I have a nephew, he's extremely intelligent. He's hilarious and he has some serious clapback, but we understand that is a part of who he is. Dangers. So we're going to talk about dangers of being controlling, or dangers of trying to overly regulate children with smart mouths. Research shows that children need to know that they are an individual. Today, I submit a question. What if you moved from being a parent to a consultant? Let that sit. You are no longer a parent, but you are now a consultant. What does that mean? Instead of saying, you know what, this is what you have to do, you're laying out concrete rules, blah, 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 blah. What if you're like, okay, these are some options. This is what I think you should do. This is what I suggest. This is what's probably best. Because then you're moving your child from pretty much what I call a robot, or someone or one of those sitting horses, to an individual, to a person with opinions. A lot of times some adults forget kids have feelings. Kids are individuals. They're humans. So let me imagine this. Imagine you work for a boss. Every time you say something you think, every time you voice an opinion or show some discontentment, they're down your throat. What you say? You don't like your schedule? Hey boss, can I change my schedule? Why you think your schedule need to be changed? Your schedule is given by me. You gonna do the schedule I gave you. Just imagine working in an environment where everything you present, every thought that you have is like attacked. That's sometimes a lot of kids feel that way. So I always say, you know what? How about, you still parent. You still have responsibilities. Sorry, y'all, that's my dryer. You still have responsibilities to protect, to provide, to serve, and all that stuff. But what if you move from being that domineering parent, you're going to do what I say you're going to do, to a consultant? Hey, have you thought about maybe doing this instead of this? Now, granted, this changes by age to age, okay? Sometimes we have parents who are over domineering and overly controlling. What happens to that kid? I've seen kids that grown up to be pre-adolescents, teenagers, and older children. They lack motivation. Why do they lack motivation? Because they've grown up in a parenting situation or family environment where everything they thought was shut down. Now they have to adopt the opinion or adopt the stance of a parent who told them what they needed to think, who told them how they needed to feel, who told them what they needed to do in every situation. So now you have an ill-equipped adult who is stepping out into higher education or a career that doesn't know how to have that internal motivation. How do I get up and go when all my get up and go has been dictated by an adult? So it is extremely vital for parents to understand the more we control and the more power we take from a child, the more that child is ill-equipped to have that internal motivation when they grow older. For me, as a parent, my parents, so granted, my dad tried to control sometimes. If he's watching, me and him, we're like BFFs, and my mom, we call ourselves Three's Company. He tried to control, but I just had had that tenacity God placed inside me. I won't be controlled. You know, I fought back, but some kids don't have that. And I think that God allowed that just so I can understand what happens when people control children on every level. So I went to schools, I fought the system. I went to teachers, when I went to law school, they told me I couldn't learn. I had a teacher tell me, you know what, maybe you should give up. Maybe you shouldn't, you know, maybe you should go pursue a different career. Now, had I not had that fight in me, had I not had that individuality and knowing that I had a power and a voice, I would have stopped. And granted, I did almost stop. But then I was like, wait a minute, fam. Now, you're not going to tell me what I can't learn, right? But I had that tenacity because I grew into that ability to have a voice. So I want to caution parents, you know, when you're overly controlling with the smart mouth kids, you know, you have to find a way, that's a strength. I became an attorney, right? And some of these kids are future CEOs. Like one of my parents on here now, her daughter is hilarious. Last week, this is a true story. So no, this was Monday. The ZLA way that we do at our academy, I teach through physical movement and dance. And I'm a dancer, I'm a singer, I love it. I love moving and getting action. As you can tell, I am hyped, right? So her daughter loves dance time. Like, she loves dance time. So we were dancing and she refused to dance. So I'm like, why are you not dancing, Aaliyah? What's going on with you? You know? And then it was time for her to go. I love her. She tells my mom, you want to know why I didn't dance, Miss Pat? And she said, because Miss Krissy didn't pull her pants sleeve down. I had on some sweats and I pulled them up because it was hot. You know how you pull your sweatpants up to your knees? She said, I wasn't going to dance because Miss Krissy didn't pull her pants legs down. I thought it was hilarious. Now, she can be deemed as, you know, a smart mouth child. She's 4. But the fact that she can put language to how she was feeling and language and explain to us, because I was concerned. I'm like, why are you not dancing? What's going on with you? You know, you love dance. And I could have made her dance. I could have been that controlling adult and say, you're going to dance. You like to dance. Get up and dance. No, I let her sit and she had her moment. Like, I don't control every piece and every part of their days. But I am teaching them, you are an individual. You have opinions. Your opinions matter. I may not agree with them. Like today, one of them, I said, am I getting on your nerves? She said, yeah. I said, okay, I know I'm getting on your nerves. I'm sorry I'm getting on your nerves, but I need you to do this because this is important for you. Now, they're younger, okay? So it's vital that you do not take away their voice. Children need a voice. We are living in 2020. I have seen people berate children, adults. I have consulted with school systems and I walk through classrooms where teachers are arguing. You know, they're telling you, gonna do this. You're not gonna amount to nothing. You're stealing their voice. You're stealing their power that they need to fight in a world that sometimes systems are created to hate them. You know, so they need that gumption that they have at 2 and 3 years old when they flipping and flopping on the floor. Now, granted, there are some children that will take advantage of parents' niceness, and their kids are manipulative. Kids are intelligent. I tell people they know how to work certain people. When I walk into a room, they know Miss Krissy gonna let us flip, trip, do whatever we want. Miss Pat's gonna have a little more structure, so they can discern how to perform based upon the person. So you have to trust that child's intelligence and trust that they can make the decisions. Okay. So I want to give one tip. So if you have younger kids and you're dealing with them and they have a smart mouth, try to take that consulting role, because I submit to you today, you do not own your child's life. I know this is hard. This is counterintuitive. You don't own your child, okay? Their lives belong to them. Now, you are responsible for them. There are laws that make you responsible. If you make them, you gotta help them. I have laws that, that require me to be responsible. I have to provide safe environments, clean environments, food, shelter, education, all that kind of stuff. There are laws, but I don't own their life. Their life, their individuality, that belongs to them. Even an infant. Infants have an ability to express their opinions and their preferences. You ever hold a baby and they with their mom, oh, your baby's so cute, can I hold him? And they start hollering because they don't like you. That's them expressing an opinion. You can't get mad. I've seen people, oh, your baby just me, she don't want you. No, your baby has an opinion and we should respect that infant's opinion. They don't like you, give them back to their mother. Okay, so I know it's a little tough, but it's the truth. Babies, they have opinions, even with you feeding a toddler. You give them peas and carrots and didn't dip it in that applesauce, they're going to spit at you, right? They don't want that. We have to now, okay, an infant, you need to eat these peas and carrots. I'm going to force feed, not force them, but make them eat it, right? But the older they get, you know, you have to begin to find opportunities to allow them to have their own voice. So sometimes when I have kids that's acting up, so this is a tip, provide choices. If they're flipping and tripping and acting a fool, as you know that they can do, this is what I do. I don't argue with children. If you come visit me and see me in action, I do not argue with children. I have people on here that can contest. I don't argue with kids. I just feel like we're all humans here. God has given us all brain capacity to have reason and logic. Yes, mine is probably far more advanced than yours, but I'm willing to sit here and discuss things with you. My mom laughs at me all the time. I will talk their ears off, and I know some things that goes over their head, but I'm teaching them to have voice, give voice and language to their feelings, A. I'm teaching them that their opinions and their feelings matter because I'm listening to them. And then A, B, C. I was about to say 1, 2, 3. But I'm also teaching them that there's consequences to your behavior. So I have a kid that's flipping and tripping. I'd be like, okay, at 3 o'clock, we're going to do a party, say for instance. Now, if you continue to do what you're going to do, you're not going to join the party. You are free to continue doing what you're doing. But I want you to know that you won't get in this party later, okay? So it's all up on you. However you feel, however you decide, you know, let me know. And I walk away. You know, sometimes you have to use wisdom. So if you're in a public place or they can get hurt themselves, I'm not saying leave kids in the middle of parking lots. Don't protect down. You know, I ain't said that. I'll call the people on you. I'm just kidding, but I'm serious, right? So I'm not saying to hurt them or leave them in opportunities or spaces where they can hurt themselves. But if you're at home and during this quarantine and they're acting a fool, you need to teach them that your behaviors have consequences. And I can't always be your motivation to act properly. You have to find internal motivations. I don't care if you 3, I don't care if you 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You need to understand that your life, your behaviors has consequences, okay? And you may not be in this ice cream party or have dessert tonight for dinner. But, you know, fall out. Do what you do. This is literally what I do. Fall on out. I talk their ear off for 15, 20 minutes. And eventually, they always come to my side, right? Because A, they're probably tired of hearing me talk. B, they really want the prize. And C, you know, it's just not worth it to fight with Miss Krissy because she could talk all day. I am trying to do this. Praise his high name. But I'm trying to encourage parents to give kids options. You know, just don't tell them how to behave. Train their brain. I've been studying the brain. I've been studying children's capacity to reason and their capacity to have logic, and it is extremely vital for caretakers, teachers, and parents to create situations for them to practice it. The brain is a muscle, right? So just like right now, I haven't been really lifting weights like I should. I'm losing muscle, right? So I give kids opportunities to gain that mental power and that thing. I hear kids talking, if you do that, Miss Krissy ain't gonna let you do this. You know, so they're already starting to foresee what I'm gonna do. I'm training them. And I can honestly say I've seen the toughest situations. I've had some very, very difficult kids come across me, my line in classrooms. I've been my parents' own daycare centers in the past, and I've directed and taught. And we've had some tough cases. We used to take children. We used to be known, their school used to be known for taking the toughest cases in the county and not kicking them out. We don't kick kids out. We like, okay, now fam, you can't drive, you don't pay your own daycare bill, you're going to understand what's here. But we love these kids. These kids, you know, have 180 turnarounds. They're hugging, they're kissing, they're being more appropriate. I've had parents come in, why they listen to you and not me? I don't have power trips with kids. I told you I don't argue with kids. So if you have those young kids, you know, ask their opinions, give them choices. When they're acting a fool, don't completely take their power away. Don't tell them you're horrible, I don't like you, I can't stand you, you're bad, because you're speaking over them. You're giving them that identity. How will they perform in real life? So you want to be very mindful and very careful not to speak negatively, but come to them as a consultant. I consider myself a consultant with my babies. You know, Miss Alfred said, yeah, I used to work with Miss Alfred, and I don't argue with kids. I just can't. So think about that. And you have an older kid that has a smart mouth, and now you're stuck with a smart mouth kid. So sometimes I have had mentees that I get phone calls and their parents are like, you know what, they talk too much, you know, I can't argue. Teenagers, you know how they can get, right? But it's vital, if they didn't get that foundation, you have to teach them your behaviors have an impact. You need to understand what happens with your, what consequences look like. And it's sad sometimes, and when I tell kids, teenagers that I work with, you know, I'm like, the world doesn't, they're not gonna care that your story was hard or your dad left you and stuff. You have to begin to be cognizant of your consequences. So it's a hard lesson, but it's a true lesson. So these are just some tips and tricks. So next time you are encountered with a child with a smart mouth, maybe think about, you know, am I being controlling? Or does this child lack a voice? Do they need somewhere to express? Do they need someone to empower them to be an individual? Or are they extremely intelligent? Can I honor that intelligence in them and meet them where they are? When I have smart mouth kids, I kind of play with them. I'm like, oh, okay, so you can go toe to toe with me. Let me give you something to think about, you know? So I engage them as a human. I don't take away their power and say, just because I'm big, you know, doesn't make me better. It doesn't, you know, make me more advanced. I engage them. I'm like, okay, you got an opinion about this, so tell me what you think about this. And then I hit them with some hard questions. But what I'm doing is training them to be an individual, training them how to spar with teachers in the future who may hate them, who may tell them they can't amount to anything, but now they know how to engage maturely, and they know how to engage and say, you know what, my teacher, Miss Krissy, honored my intelligence and she spoke to me like a human being, and I'm going to demand you to do the same. So we are empowering our youth to be powerful men and women in the community and in careers and spheres abroad. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Drop some comments, tag a friend. That is all. I try to keep it short. I know I talk fast, and with my hands, you know, it's just a thing. But yes, next time you have a smart mouth kid, you know, try to think about these things. Try to engage and meet them where they are. And I encourage parents to consider becoming a consultant. You do not own your child's life. They are not your property. Even an infant, there are laws that makes them individual. That's why we have guardian ad litems that advocate for their rights and different things like that. You don't own your child's life. It's hard, it's tight, but it's kind of right. You know, honor their intelligence. You know, understand that their behaviors and opinions are valid, and meet them where they are so that you can empower them and help them to be great men and women. I'd have a parent on here, her Alana, I say it every day. She's going to be somebody's CEO. And when she claps back at me, the woman of God is the youngest of the group. And oh, thank you, Catrice, appreciate you, girl. She's the youngest of the group, and she claps back to me, the kids, and I be like, well, you gonna run a corporation, but this corporation you don't run. I do, but I appreciate you, you know. So I'm speaking life into her. I'm identifying her smart mouth as a trait and a skill and a strength, and I'm saying, you are somebody amazing. You are going to be a CEO. You're going to run a corporation, but I need you to understand, this one I run. I appreciate your help, but, you know, just calm down, because you're 2 or you're 3 now. She's 3. Okay, so that was the source of my disrespect because I felt disrespect. Yeah, you know, I felt disrespected. I would have people say I was horrible, I couldn't learn, just because I had a clap back. They were just, you know, sometimes I had to check, even with certain kids, I have to check my securities. Insecure adults are very, very hard adults to manage children. When I consulted with schools and I would talk to teachers, I would encourage them, you know, are you suffering with low self-esteem? I had a boss one day. This is a true story. This is why I always tell people I'm not a very good employee. I said, you know what, boss? I was new. I said, I think you have low self-esteem because you're challenging everything I said. And I was like, I shouldn't have said it. Okay, granted. But it's true. Sometimes when we suffer with our own inward turmoil, you know, we kind of spray that on kids, and you know, our kids are like, you know, our only place where we can feel powerful and we can feel empowered. So we you know, we pounce on them. If they say I don't like that, you gonna like it today. No fam, they cannot like that. Why they gotta like it? Because you said they gonna like it. No. So sometimes we have to check our own internal stuff. Are we insecure? Are we hurting? Are we sad? Are we angry? Do we feel like another area of our life is being overly controlled? So now I need to control something else so that I can have some type of control. It's so important for us as adults to become emotionally intelligent so that we can raise and train emotionally intelligent children that can become strong and, you know, independent and ready individuals for their career. I'm trying to tell y'all, I'm trying to get a college open because kids, these days, I am nervous. I tell people, my kids ain't going to public school because I meet some of these teachers and they are suffering with their own depression and stuff, and they are spraying that anger and that sadness on kids every day and ruining stories. I know a lot of us on here can attest. Maybe we grew up in a home where parents and caregivers spoke negative things over us, and all we are doing is perpetuating a negative cycle. So it's important. Yeah, your kid has a smart mouth. People may say they're bad, but let's think about it differently. Let's change our perspective. Are they intelligent? Is there something else going on? Let's give them opportunity to win. All right, guys, that's it for today. I will be back next week. Let us know if you have other topics that you want to hear. Otherwise, I will just use inspirations and things that I see every day to continue bringing you Miss Krissy's Tidbits. For those who are joining us this weekend, we have another free virtual childcare opportunity this Saturday. We are doing STEM. I am so excited. We have 2 groups. Ages 3 to 7 and ages 8 to 12. So check out our page and see what you need to do in order to prepare your child for this Saturday STEM party. This is another opportunity to give them their brain exercise to become logical and reason and even learn how to fail. A lot of people don't understand STEM projects are vital for children because the trial and error teaches them how to fail and try again. So I was telling my sister-in-law this weekend really quick, at our academy, the ZLA way is based upon not so much teaching children information to repeat by rote or by memory, but giving them the tools and foundation to be able to think cognitively and figure things out, wrestle with information. And that's what STEM does. I'm very excited, very passionate, as you can see, about STEM as well as reading and stuff. So make sure you sign up, send us an email if you have questions, and we will see you Saturday. Love you guys. Bye.